Auto channel. If you don't want to listen to a big long-winded introduction, skip ahead to the part where it looks like we're tearing that thing apart and you'll be happy. Otherwise, if you guys want to hear the whole spiel, I'm gonna give it to you. And here it is. And first question is, why didn't I record changing the engine? Typically I would have you guys know that. You know I love you and you love me. It's a love relationship. In this case, as a lot of you know, I'm about 2 weeks behind on appointments, as we are year-round. Not a big deal, not looking for sympathy, it's just how it is. This lady was a new customer. She was referred to us by another lady customer to have us look at it. She swung by on a Wednesday evening to have me look at her car that wasn't running quite right. Honestly, I thought it was just gonna be a coil pack, so I said, hey, just swing by. So she swung in, I checked it out, and as you guys seen in the video where we diagnosed it originally, it was not a coil pack, you know, it had a broken valve. So gave her the options, and long story short, found out this is her only vehicle, her and her husband's only vehicle, and would like it back sooner than later. Being 2 weeks out, that's not sooner, so I just went, yanked an all-nighter, flopped an engine in it, shipped it, showed up on a Wednesday night, out of here on a Friday. So that's why I didn't record it. As you guys know, recording adds, or as you may not know, recording adds about twice the amount of time. So let's say, you know, it's a 7-hour job to slap a motor in it. You know, I wouldn't say twice the time, but now you're at, you know, 10, 12, 11, you know, somewhere's in there. Adds a drastic amount of time. So being on a little bit of a crunch on this one, it didn't happen. Why did I change the engine? That's the next question I want to address. 170K on this one, broken valve. I did give her the option, pull the head, inspect it, see what it's going to need, put it back together. Rough estimate, 1,200 to 2,000. Depends on what it needs. You know, do we need all the valves, all the guides, you know, valve seats, you know, what's going to need? You know, timing chain guides, you know, is the cam phaser looking junky, you know, chain tensioner, it can just snowball. Anybody that's worked on vehicles knows that when you take a high mileage engine apart, you know, what are you gonna find? You don't know until you get there is the answer. So I gave her that option, certainly was willing to do that. And then I gave her option B, which was replace the engine. I did find a large amount of those, these engines are very popular, so therefore they're quite inexpensive to buy. So I found one out of a 2012 Ford Fusion, had 32K on it. The car was smacked in the back end. You know, perfect scenario. The vehicle still ran. It was still a salvage yard one I've dealt with often. So I gave her the quote on that, which ultimately ended up being just about the same price as what a head gasket would be. You know, buy the engine, put it in. We really didn't need any extra parts other than coolant, antifreeze, and a couple gaskets. Manifolds were the same, everything was the same, so it was pretty much just a shoe-in, pop it in and ship it down the road. Personally, if that was my vehicle, that's what I would have done. I would not have pulled ahead on an engine with 170K on it, knowing that it broke a valve. You know, just personal preference, particularly when this option of installing a used engine, I believe was cheaper in the long term and, you know, just a better fit. So with all that being said, what I want to do is I feel that I owe it to you guys, because I have guilt now because I didn't record the process. I owe it to you to pull the head and let's just have a look. I know you guys think that stuff's pretty fun, so let's do that. A couple people commented in the other video that they saw the broken piece shoved into the cylinder wall or in the piston, which I don't think that we're going to find. Heart of hearts. I believe it went out the exhaust, but I could be wrong. You couldn't see very good with that camera, and neither could I. So we're going to take a look, have a look at the the broken valve, see what that looks like. Rip it apart like a bunch of cavemen, because we don't care, because this is going back to the wrecking yard. As a matter of fact, it was sitting outside, so I pulled it in. So let's rip and tear. Whew, holy crap, dude, that was a long intro. But let's try to address all the questions. So we're still rocking the Harbor Freight Earthquake XT, smelling less and less like an electrical fire each day. So we're going to yank the valve cover, which we previously had off. now we got to get to our head bolts, which live under the camshafts. Now, this is no way to really do this, folks, so don't do this like on a real engine. Typically, you'd pull the timing cover and then the chains. But this is just going back to scrap metal. I stripped that out like a moron. So we're gonna use one of our Astro flank drive or flank bites. We'll see if that'll grip it now that I've rounded it off. We've used these in another video. Let's see. Oh crap, biscuit. Well, she doesn't want to really grip too good here, fella. Oh, that's a spinny engine. Oh, man. Plan B, we're going to go with the flank bite socket. We can kind of get down on it a little more. Thunder. Wow. She thought you were a banshee. We're going to plan C. That's plan C. She has a little up tension on there. Alright, now naturally folks, I wouldn't have done that in the vehicle. This is for demonstration purposes only. This thing's going to the scrap heap. No one cares. They don't salvage anything off them. They just throw them in the dumpster. Now is that done? Get our cam bearings off here. We don't even have to keep them in order. Nothing's going back on. I already checked with the wrecking yard before I did this to make sure they weren't going to salvage the head or anything, and they're not. So that's good. So we'll get a little scrap metal out of the process for our own collection. I know a lot of people are going to be leaving nasty gram comments because of what we're doing. But like I said, it's okay. We're going to take and use plan C, time and chain, because we're not going to pull the cover. There. That's how you hook a time and chain, folks. There's your infamous cam phaser and the intake cam. Subaru runs these on their twin cams. They run these on their turbo engines. Pretty common type of valve adjustments when they don't have adjustable rocker arms. Let's stick these over in the scrap metal pile. So next, we're going to try to pull the head off. A lot of times you can't do it with an impact. These torque-yield bolts are kind of springy. But we brought out the big dog. We'll see if it cracks them loose. Oops, wrong way. Oh, it does work. Look at that. build up here for a minute. We'll give her a little shot of nitro while we're waiting. That'll usually give them a little brief blast of superpower. See? Look at that. Give her some nitro. Now, if you're doing head bolts for real, usually you take them off in the reverse order in which you put them in. But in this case, we really don't care. We're going to save a couple of these, put the head back on. Put the rest in the bin. There we go. Now, the moment of truth. She's going to be stuck. Why is it going to be stuck? Because you don't have the time to cover it off, you big dummy. So what we're going to have to do is take some bolts out of that. At least the bolts that go to the head, which are probably some of these ones. There's that. Got a couple going through that engine mount there. Where are they? We'll grab another socket. That one fits first try. Alright, is that enough bolts to pull the head? It's going to be stuck on there pretty good with the silicone. I don't know if there's a dowel pin. Oh, I hope not. Let's get a little screwdriver here. See if we can't wiggle it. So if there's a dowel pin, you know, obviously there's dowel pins in the head. Now, there may be dowel pins in that front cover that don't allow us to take it off this direction, but we'll pry up on it a little bit. Let's see, what do we got? Probably a bolt. Yeah, we got one bolt in the intake manifold. We'll buzz that out. That's the wrong size. This one's probably right. There. Now should be, hopefully. What else do we got? We missing anything? I don't think so. Might be something in the timing cover we're missing, but we'll give it a little wiggle here and get it where you guys can see it. I think I just gotta break the bond on the timing cover, which should be broken. I don't think we missed anything. I don't know, fella. What the thunder did I miss over here? Anything? Anything, folks? What are you guys seeing? Talk to me. Should be all the bolts. I think we're just stuck on that rear dowel pin. I don't know, guy. Unless there's a guide, could be one of the chain guides, more than likely. We'll just pop them chain guides off just like that. There we go. See? That's all it was. Perfect. You pull a cylinder head on one of these in like 10 minutes. So here we are, here's cylinder number 3. Now don't get mad because we ripped it apart like this. Like I say, it's going to scrap metal. It is what it is. There is the number 3 exhaust valve. That's the spark plug hole we came down through. Now you can easily see the big chunk that's missing. Pretty sweet, huh? So we made the right call. Now the ultimate question is, what did it do to the number 3 cylinder? A couple of you folks mentioned that you could see it on top of the piston. So we're gonna take and wipe this off. So I think what a lot of folks were seeing was the valve reliefs here, which all the pistons have. On the intake side, they've got these little valve reliefs now. Honestly, I don't see any marks on top of this piston whatsoever. But what we can do is we can run her down, because some people commented they saw marks in the cylinder. So we'll take and wipe it out. Now that is always a potential problem that could have happened, which we don't know until we take the head off, which naturally pulling the head inside the car is not the quick 10-minute procedure that we did here. We'll clean that out, we'll get a light and we'll have a look. I'll just do this so you guys can timestamp it when you see it, because I don't see anything other than normal engine wear. You can see where some of the crosshatch pattern is gone. Personally, I think we made the right choice swapping the engine. Granted, after looking at this, we could have done the cylinder head, because I don't see major engine damage. Yes, the engine shows sign of being 170,000 miles old. But for those of you that saw the chunk, I'm not seeing it. But one thing I do see, it doesn't pertain to the broken valve, is the fact that this engine was a bit of an oil burner. We can see the accumulation and collection of burnt oil here on top of the piston. Now, piston tops are usually kind of like a golden brown, on an engine that burns good. It looks similar to, like this, top of the cylinder head here. But you can see, even on some of these valves, quite a bit of ash buildup. Of course, it's breaking down because of the water and, gunk that's on it. But I think we made the right call. High mileage engine, swap her out for low mileage. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry, like if we tore it apart and found, that these plastic guides were starting to wear, which, just based on the little bit that we can see, they look fine. Chances are, though, if I was doing a head job, we pulled the timing cover, I definitely would recommend to the customer, now's the time to do the guides and the tensioner for that chain. So, I guess that's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the engine rip down, the look firsthand of that broken valve. We could pop that valve out. I'm going to assume the machine shop would regrind that valve, probably replace the valve. Absolutely replace the valve and any other suspect exhaust valves. Well, there you have it, folks. There's a look at the cylinder head, the broken valve, the mystery. Did you really see it or didn't you? And you didn't, so go get your eyes checked. Now, sometimes using the borescope can be a little deceptive. As we've seen, nothing happened to that cylinder other than age and time and miles. As we could see where the crosshatch was starting to disappear, and the obviousness of the burning oil, the ash on top of the pistons and whatnot. Made the right choice. Also gave you guys a long-winded excuse as to why I didn't record the engine remove and replace. And I think that's about all I can do for you. Now again, before you flip out and saying I ruined a good rebuildable engine and this and that, that's probably true. However, I did check with the salvage yard. They throw them in the scrap metal bin. They salvage nothing. They want it back simply for weight and short steel or mixed iron aluminum or whatever you want to call it. They don't pull anything off it. These engines are plentiful. They're a dime a dozen. They don't save intake manifolds. They don't save anything. So we'll leave it at that, because I know a lot of people are going to scream, oh, you should have saved it all for your customer. Well, if they wanted it, I would have given it to them. I don't think some 70-year-old lady wants her old intake manifold, my opinion. her husband did, however, ask for the ignition coils. Gave them back to him. No problem. And that's it. So anyhow, questions, comments, concerns, and definitely all your criticisms, put them in the comment box below. You can find us on our socials, also on Patreon. You can find us there if you want to support us and love what we do. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.